So, you know, we've been living in Brazil now for 3.5 years. The first time I came to Brazil was in 2019, and we went back to the United States and we wrapped up everything because I told Elci it's time to go live in Brazil. So we came here in July of 2021, and it's now January 31st, 2025. So just over 3.5 years. So today I'm going to talk to you about over 30 mistakes that expats make here in Brazil that I have seen personally and heard about and read about. These are in random order from a list that I made on my cell phone. So without further ado, let's get going. The first mistake expats make is choosing the wrong city and region to live in. You know, Brazil is a big country. It's as big as the United States without counting Alaska. So it's very big, very diverse. It's got the longest coastline in South America, so it's very, very diverse. You have to do your research as to which city you want to live in, because each city has its pros and cons. Each region has its pros and cons. You've got areas where it's cold, areas where you've got different seasons, and areas that are very, very hot. Like the north is hot all year long. The south is seasonal, where you actually even have ice and snow. And so you got to do your research. That's the first mistake. The second thing is people just tend to stick to the coastline. You know, the coastline is wonderful if you're just into beaches, but if you really want to get the true feel of what Brazil is all about, you've got to even check out the interior of Brazil. There's a lot to see. And again, as I mentioned earlier, very diverse. The third mistake is rushing to buy land, real estate, or a business. If you have just arrived in Brazil, take it easy. Don't be in a rush to go buying land just because you see a for sale sign. There's always something for sale in Brazil. So the thing I will tell you as a former real estate broker in the US for over 30 years, here it's easy to buy land, real estate, etc., but it's very difficult to sell it. So take it easy, don't be in a rush, stay here for a year or two, do some research, and then figure it out. All right? Buying unregistered land or a house. There are some fantastic deals to be had, but the problem is they're fantastic because they're unregistered. Nobody has ever paid taxes, no deeds have been recorded, no nothing. You could end up losing all your deposit and losing a lot of money if you end up buying one of those deals. So the lesson here is do not buy anything unregistered, no matter what the price. Number 5, renting without looking at least a dozen different places. Again, because there are so many choices, if you come to a city and you decide that's where you want to live, look at least a dozen places within that city, right? Then decide, okay, this is where I want to rent, and sign the lease. Another mistake is buying a brand new car. The moment you arrive, okay, you're thinking, wow, my euros go so far, my dollars go so far here in Brazil. Do not rush to buy a brand new car. Instead, I would say rent a car for a couple of months. It's like maybe $500-600 a month for a car that's brand new. And with unlimited mileage, rent a car, figure out the lay of the land, and then decide. And then don't buy new, buy something used. You know, anything that's 2 or 3 years old, if you buy Japanese, you're good to go for a long time. Number 7, dating a much younger person than yourself, although it's very common to see. I've heard of stories of people that come here and they could be my age, 63 years old, and they end up dating somebody 25 years old, 30 years old. Well, they're half your age, very little in common. And the first thing that happens is, you know, they end up wanting to get married, and before you know it, they've gotten their US green card or European residency or whatever. And I've heard of stories that they will then leave you and you'll be left high and dry, and they'll be living in the country that you came from. So don't make that mistake. You know, be sensible, date someone who's age appropriate, you know, and you'll be fine. Do not flirt with married men or women. You know, Brazil is a very macho country. So if a guy sees you flirting with his wife, it's not going to be good for you, right? Do not flirt with married people. Right, Elci?
Do not flirt, point. Because you are married.
Yeah. Elci says don't flirt, period, because you're married. Very true, right? Okay, number 9, showing off, bragging, being arrogant, wearing expensive watches, clothes, sneakers, phones, cameras, laptops, gold, jewelry of any kind. That's a big no-no. I'd say if you want to have a simple life, don't show off. Leave your Rolex at home. Leave your fancy clothes at home. Do not bring any gold jewelry, right? Just be simple. Wear a $10 watch. This is literally a $10 watch. Cost me 50 reais. If anybody wants it, they'll happily take it. I'll go buy another one. So that's my point. Live a simple life, you'll be fine. Number 10, flashing cash when you're paying for something. You've got to be sensible. We always use credit cards. We don't use debit cards because they're tied into bank accounts, and your bank accounts can be drained if somebody steals your debit card. However, credit cards are not like that. If somebody steals your credit card, you can actually call a number and put a hold on that card, and you've lost nothing. So we only use credit cards. That being said, if you are somewhere, you've got cash in your wallet, look around to make sure that there's nobody staring into your wallet to see how much cash you've got in there. So be discreet, all right? Don't flash cash around. Do not go to an ATM machine after dark, unless it's in a mall or something and you're surrounded by other people in a safe, protected sort of environment. But if you see an ATM machine on a street and it's dark and there's nobody around, don't be silly. Don't go there, all right? Another mistake people make is living amongst other expats and constantly speaking their native language, English, or whatever the case might be. You've come to this beautiful country to get to know the country and to learn Portuguese, not to hang out people that you left behind at home and to just speak your native language or English. Don't make that mistake. Be bold, be courageous. Brazilians are very friendly people, very helpful people. They'll go out of their way to work with you. And Google Translate goes a long way. They see that you're making an effort, they'll be even more willing to help you. So do not hang out just with your own kind of people. Do not avoid people that live in this beautiful country just because you don't know how to speak Portuguese. As I said, Google Translate goes a long way. They want to see you making an effort with their country, with their language, with their culture. It will go a long way to help you out. Make an effort to learn Portuguese. It might take you a year or 2 or 3 to get fluent enough to strike conversations with people, but make an effort. I know people that have been here for 18, 20 years, still don't speak Portuguese, and they're married to Brazilians. Not a good thing to do. You should be making an active effort to speak Portuguese. Don't discuss soccer, politics, religion, or generally put down Brazil for anything, including crime or corruption or infrastructure. If you believe your country is so great, then just don't come here. But don't put Brazil down for any reason. Brazilians are proud people, right? They don't want to hear from you the defects that they have here in this country. They already know that. So keep your mouth shut when it comes to that kind of thing. My best advice is leave your expectations at home and just enjoy this country for what it is, which is an amazing country, right? Number 17, don't make the mistake of not dressing down to blend in with the average locals. That's the best advice I would give you. Again, it comes down to the point I made earlier. Don't flash anything, don't wear expensive stuff, dress simple. If you've never worn cut-off jeans, jean shorts, and a simple old white t-shirt, well, now's your time. Lots of people here wear flip-flops, lots and lots of people. So you don't even need sneakers, to be honest with you. Number 18, walking in unfamiliar deserted areas after sunset. Well, that's a given, just like the ATM machines I told you about. Don't be walking around alone. If you're in a group, okay, fine. But especially alone or with your spouse or your better half, after sunset, be wary of your surroundings and you'll be just fine. Number 19, don't get drunk and mouth off at bodegas, which are neighborhood bars. That's what a bodega is called. You'll meet many interesting people in places like that, bodegas. But once you get drunk, you may have the tendency to mouth off. Don't do that, because everybody is watching you. They know that you're a foreigner. They're observing everything you do and don't do. So don't mouth off. Be cautious about what you disclose, what you discuss, etc. Number 20, talking English loudly and calling attention. Look, I was born in India, but I left India to live in the United States for almost 36 years. And there's a tendency in America for Americans to talk loudly, the American English. And, you know, people hear, when they hear someone talking English, immediately their radar goes up. And when you tend to talk loudly, you're really calling attention to yourself. So find a way to change your habits to talk discreetly, talk below your normal voice, and I think you'll be more respected for that, because not everybody likes loud, boisterous conversations in a language that they don't understand. 21, eating fast food versus authentic Brazilian cuisine. You know, if you've come here, it would be a crying shame if you go and eat at McDonald's or Pizza Hut or Kentucky Fried Chicken or Burger King. I mean, seriously, guys, you've left your home country, wherever you are, where people are so damn obese because of what they eat, to this country where you have a chance of eating delicious, fresh cooked food in kilo restaurants where you can eat to your heart's content and they bill you based upon the weight of your plate. Don't eat fast food. Eat local cuisine wherever you are in Brazil, and you'll be healthy, and you'll be thinner, and you'll live longer. All right, next one. Number 22, not visiting the interior of the country. For crying out loud, just don't stay along the coast. Go to the inside. You've got Amazonia, you've got Acre, you've got Rondônia, you've got Belo Horizonte, you've got Minas Gerais. You've got many places in the interior of Brazil. There's a lot to see. Beautiful country, but you've got to leave the coastline to see all that. Do that. Number 23, if you just stick to the big cities, you've lost the magic of this country. I believe the real magic for this country is the smaller cities and smaller towns. We live in a fishing village, so you can imagine people in smaller places are much more receptive, much more willing to help, much more willing to take their shirt off and help you no matter what the case might be. So explore the smaller places as well, not just the big touristy towns. Brazil is not just Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. Brazil is a whole lot more than those two cities, okay? And it's not just Carnival. There's a lot to do here all year long, right? Number 24, do not make racist comments in a heavily mixed and diverse culture. You know, it may be okay for you to say something off-color, racist in the country that you come from, but here in Brazil, it's not uncommon to go to a family sort of a get-together and you see that the person's father is black, the mother is white, the uncle is Japanese, another relative is native Indian, etc., etc. So you get my point. It would be very awkward for you to be in a position where you make a racist comment to somebody that, say, looks white, only to find out that that person's father is black or uncle is Japanese, and so on and so forth. So Brazil is a heavily diverse, mixed, accepting, for the most part, country. So it would be completely out of line for you to make racist comments. Another thing to note, Brazil is a heavily Christian country. And here, after lunch, all of Saturday, things are closed, and all of Sunday, things are closed. So people here have time to spend with their families. So remember this. Half of Saturday, everything is closed. All of Sunday, everything is closed. Because unlike other countries like the United States where I lived, where people just work for money all the time, no time for family, nothing. Here, it's not like that. So remember that. Never shake hands with somebody without making an effort to stand up. So if somebody comes to you and wants to shake your hand, don't just keep sitting and offer your hand up like that. Make at least a half-hearted effort to kind of quasi stand up, if not fully stand up, to shake their hand. That's just polite. And Brazilians love politeness. They love respect because they're a self-respecting bunch of people, right? Not knowing the difference between a hotel and a motel. Unlike the United States, where you can go to a motel because it's cheap, it's a roadside thing, or you could go to a hotel. Here in Brazil, there's a distinct difference. Hotels are for you and your family to go to, you and your loved one to go to. A motel, on the other hand, is usually for a quickie, if you know what I mean. If you and your lover want to go, spend some romantic time together, you go to a motel. So there's a big difference of hotel, motel here in Brazil, okay? Remember that. Using toilet paper and not throwing it into the basket that's usually located next to your toilet. Here, it's a cultural thing. I don't know why. It probably comes down to where the sanitation system was not so good in the past. And now, in some places it is, some places it's not. But it's common practice for you to throw used toilet paper not into the toilet, but into the basket that's sitting next to the toilet. And it's got a lid and all that. And oftentimes in places, they've also got a little water fountain that you can use to wash your back end as well, right? So common practice is to throw the toilet paper in the basket next to you. If you live in hot Brazil, showering 2 or 3 times a day is very common, extremely common. So make sure you follow that practice, because if everybody else around you is smelling fresh and you're not, you're going to stand out, and stand out in a bad way. Kiss culture when meeting everybody. It's very common for Brazilians to kiss each other when they meet. Cheek kisses, not lip-to-lip kisses, but cheek kisses, like mwah, mwah. Not air kisses. You actually touch your cheek to somebody. It's more endearing than to just do a California Beverly Hills type of kiss. Don't do that. You're going to look like an idiot. Touch your cheek to the other person's cheek. Give them an endearing hug if necessary, and you'll fit right in. So these are the 30-odd things that I can think of for the moment to share with you while we're waiting to pick up our van from the mechanic. But I hope this little bit of information helps you. If you're an expat who's just arrived in Brazil, or if you're thinking of coming to Brazil, these 30-odd pointers should help you out. So thank you for watching. We'll catch you the next time.